Hello, 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 and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. And this is what I'm talking about. James Franklin, fire. Before we get into it, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Trying to grow this thing out. Grew a lot in 2024. Trying to do more in 2025. And part of that is doing something new, doing something different. People say, core dog, if you want to grow, you got to do some more stuff. You gotta switch it up a little bit. So this is my attempt at switching it up, doing something a little bit different outside of just normal game reactions. It's gonna be my new segment called What You Talking About. Yeah, this is something starting new, something fresh, so hope you guys will enjoy it. And again, if you checking me out for the first time, go back, look at some of my reaction stuff. Hope you like it and want you to come back. And folks that have been with me now, thank you for helping me grow this thing out. And this is the next step in that growth process, doing something just a little bit different. With that said, let's get into it. James Franklin, fired, let go by Penn State. And I mentioned it during my reaction thing. Go back and check it out. Just the downfall was quick. Started the season number 1, number 2 in most of the polls. James Franklin was following the blueprint established by Michigan, established by Ohio State. Bring back your folks, win a natty. That's what the Big Ten has been doing the last 2 years, and Penn State was primed to do it again this year for the Big Ten. Things just ain't not work out for James Franklin and Penn State, and they let him go. I mentioned that I didn't know if he was going to survive the season. I thought they at least let him end the season. I thought he had built up enough to at least try to turn things around. Because I know the Penn State fans were grumbling. They weren't happy. The UCLA loss was bad. The Oregon game, we can sort of forgive that one, I suppose, even though they did just go down to Indiana. But that was a top 5 matchup. You can sort of forgive them on that one, but UCLA, even though I said UCLA seemingly has turned it around, but then the Northwestern, that was just too much. But still, you would have thought they would have let your boy finish the season, especially given his buyout. We're gonna talk about the buyout, but the season went sideways. You thought he would have had you thought they would have gave him some opportunity to finish the season. Few weeks, because it reminds me of a few weeks back when I talked about some coaches that were on the hot seat. One coach, I thought he had built up some stuff, a little cushion to go through a down season. And of course, I'm referring to Dabo Swinney. He didn't get off to the best of starts. I felt they give Dabo a chance to turn it around based on what he's accomplished in the past. He got him a little cushion there, so to speak. The other coach at the time I mentioned, go back look at some of my stuff, was Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State. Terrible start, bad losses. I felt like if a coach was going to go, it was going to be Mike Gundy, because he didn't build up no cushion the way Dabo Swinney did. So following James's hardships this season, even with all the expectations, you would have thought he was in the Dabo Swinney category, and they would have gave him at least to the end of the season, end of the year, to see if he could turn it around. It was 9-3, even with these terrible losses. You got some games left on the schedule. If you win them out, you might be able to get back in the good graces of the committee. But Penn State said, nope, we seen enough. losing to Northwestern at home was enough. And I said it's hard because you thought this, like I said, going back to Dabo Swinney comparison, not quite the thing that Dabo got. Dabo got some championships under his belt, but James Franklin was 1-2 plays away from playing in the championship game just how many, 8-9 months ago. They were that close to beating Notre Dame and being in the championship game. You thought someone that had that going for him would have been given a little bit more rope. You thought there would have been a little more slack in that rope, but the power to be thought otherwise, and you don't. It's hard. It's hard because once you lose the fans, and once it seems like you lose the team, it's hard in this new day and age of NIL and stuff. And his record, let's face it, his record against top competition, top 10, top 20 teams has not been good. I believe 4-21 against AP top 10 teams since he's been there. 3-7 against Ohio State, Michigan. He hasn't. They just thrown that out there. Big game James, cause sarcastically, cause he ain't performed well in too many of them big games. Hence the 4-21 record. But James Franklin brought them through a tough period in Penn State history. You know, following the scandal, O'Brien was there for a couple years. He had some alright seasons. And James Franklin at Vanderbilt, a program not known for winning, James Franklin was able to win, out of all places, Vanderbilt at a time when Vanderbilt couldn't win nothing. James Franklin was able to do some stuff at Vanderbilt, and they thought he was a good fit and hire at Penn State. And for the most part, he has been. He has been 9-10 win seasons consistently. Got rid of the scandal that that hit the program over about 10-12 years ago. The Sandusky scandal, y'all know what I'm talking about. And James Franklin let him out of that, made them a good top-notch program. And he's competitive. I think 6-10 plus win seasons while he was there. Again, Vanderbilt winning record, Penn State, I think over 70% of his games. Big Ten championship in 2016, where I believe they knocked off Wisconsin, I believe. And again, they were runner-up just last year to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. So you thought he would have had a little bit of cushion to turn things around, especially given the buyout. $50 million. That's Jimbo Fisher territory. They gave him $50 million to go away. I'm in the wrong business. They gave him $50 million to go away. We don't want you no more. And it is. And again, you get it. Penn State, they have bigger aspirations than that, but be careful what you wish for. Ask Nebraska. Bo Pelini couldn't get over the 9-win threshold, and look how long it's taken Nebraska to get back to some form of respectability. So $50 million. You better have someone in mind who can come in and do that Kirk Signetti flip around. We're gonna get to Kurt, but you better have someone in place if you're gonna spend $50 million to tell somebody go home. $50 million to tell someone who brought you guys back from, like I said, a rough period in Penn State history, and that's how you treat them off of one bad season. I mean, granted, the top 10 wins, 421. I guess they're looking for someone who can up that percentage some. Now, I don't know who's out there that's better. But that's $50 million that they have, that they feel they can find someone better who can do in the bigger games than Big Game James, who couldn't do much in the big games when it was all said and done. Just the fall was quick. Fall was quick. I thought he would have been in Dabo Sweeney territory, not Mike Gundy territory, but the AD saw differently. AD or president, whoever saw it differently, and they feel like it's time to move. When I mentioned cause of that buyout, maybe Franklin wanted to do the nice thing and just resign or work out some type of buyout package and just walk away. Who knows? Maybe they approached him to do that. He said no. They said, know what? Your dollar bills, y'all. Go home. So again, if you're doing that, you're gonna spend $50 million to tell someone to go home. You better have someone in mind. And as you know, as soon as the word got out that he was fired, the rumor mill started going around of who the possible replacements are. Here's the list here. The top of that list is Kirk Cignetti and Matt Rule. I understand Kirk Cignetti. Look what he's done at Indiana. Who knows? Maybe Kirk might be the reason. But I said Kirk's making it hard on these new coaches. He's done it at Indiana in 2 years? 2 years at a program not known for football. And like he's trying to revive some dormant program. This is Indiana we talking about. Basketball school. He's making them into a football school in a very, very short time. So I don't know if that played into it. I don't know, but if I'm Kirk Cignetti, Penn State's a better job. But am I going to leave Indiana for Penn State? He stay at Indiana and continues to do what he's doing. He's going to be a god in Indiana. Why leave? Penn State's a bigger brand. You can probably get better resources at Penn State. I know with the swoon of money coming into the Big Ten, that may not be such an issue anymore. Like I said, he's doing it with primarily 3 and 4 star recruits that I mentioned during my reaction. Go check it out. I don't think he has a 5-star player on his roster, and look what he's doing. Imagine what he can do at Penn State, because he can get him a couple 5-star easily at Penn State. He might be able to start bringing 5 stars in at Indiana if he keeps trending upwards the way he is. So I just don't see Kirk making that move. And if anything, he might use it as leverage to get more money from Indiana. Another popular name, Matt Rule. He attended Penn State, coached at Penn State, coached at Temple. He's familiar with the area, and he's familiar with turning programs around. I think he's getting Nebraska back on the right track. They're ranked again for the first time in years. And it's all under Matt Rule. Does he have affinity to get back to Penn State? Is Nebraska a better job than Penn State? That's debatable. You get Nebraska back where it's at. Again, Nebraska rules Nebraska, like Ohio State rules Ohio. Nebraska ain't got no pro teams to compete. Stay there, build Nebraska back up. Matt Rule gonna be a legend. I'm just saying, those are the 2 big names out there. Other names is other names they be mentioning. The coach out of Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, the coach at Duke. Again, defensive stalwart, might want to come back, so it'll be interesting to see. He's not one of the main dudes. He's the thing. If we can't get Matt Rule, we can't get Kirk Cignetti, we're going to go after Manny Diaz. Another one, Lance Leopoldo, how you say his name? I don't know. He's a name that's thrown around. Speaking of the Vanderbilt connection, they stole James Franklin from Vanderbilt. Clark Lee's at Vanderbilt now, doing similar to what James Franklin did. Vanderbilt's, they're a tough out. They're a tough out, and attribute that to the coach. Then you got Dan Mullen. You want to retread Dan Mullen? That's another look. Those are the things that they throwing around. I'm gonna throw some of my own names into the mix. Ed Orgeron, didn't he just recently say he's interested in getting back into coaching? Now I don't know if he's a fit in the Big Ten. He may want to head back out west. UCLA, they got some openings, maybe, or maybe UCLA wants to ride with the skipper new Heisel combo they got going on that seems to got the fan base excited. But Ed Orgeron, established coach, NCAA champion, so you know he can win a big game, something Franklin, for the most part, has not been able to do. That's the name that float out there. Person at Jason Eck, New Mexico coach. So there's some spots out there, some folks out there, and they gotta have someone in mind. If you're gonna throw $50 million and tell James to go away, you about ready to spend $50 million to bring someone in. Some other names to float out there. I heard Urban Meyer's name mentioned. I just don't know Urban wants to coach again. Now, if he had that much health issues, as he claimed he had at Ohio State, you see the pressure there at Penn. The pressure is going to be there at Penn State because, again, they ran out to do 10-plus wins a season. They're ready to run Ryan Day out of Ohio State despite his record. Do you want to get back in that type of environment where the expectations are that high? They spent $50 million to get rid of a dude. So if you coming in there, you best win. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't know Urban can deal with that type of stress, even though he's been off for a while. I don't know if he wants to put himself back in there. And frankly, I wouldn't want to see him to go to another Big Ten team anyway. You got your championship out of Ohio State, got your championship out of Florida. Why you get back into coaching? Why get back into it? The landscape's changed since Urban was there. That's why Saban got out. Don't want to deal with the NIL stuff. I don't know if Urban wants to deal with the NIL stuff. Other names folks want to float around all of a sudden. Brian Hartline. He ain't going nowhere, at least not yet. Can we get him for a couple more years? I can see Hartline leaving, but not right now. He got Chris Henry coming in next year. He ain't trying to leave. And of course, Matt Patricia, the wonders he's done here in 1 year at Ohio State. I can see him staying here for another year. Hopefully we can get another year out of him. But, he probably has bigger aspirations to get back into the NFL. And this is a good 1 year resume, this defense, so we may not have Patricia. But I don't see him going to Penn State. I see Matt Patricia going back to the NFL. Just saying. But we know Franklin is gone. We know he ain't gonna be unemployed for too long because he's a good coach. Let's face it, he's a good coach. So what are some of the potential landing spots for James Franklin? Again, the rumor mill, Florida. Should that open up? If Napier can't if he can't get his butt off the hot seat, Florida's a potential landing spot. James Franklin back in the SEC with better resources, better availability to talent, accessibility to talent. If he was able to win at Vanderbilt, you don't think he can win in Florida? Staying in the ACC, Arkansas. Is the Petrino thing experiment going to work out? Again, Arkansas, you would think, has better facilities, better access to talent than Vanderbilt did when Franklin was there. Expectations not as big at Arkansas. They're not as big at Arkansas as they are at Florida. If he doesn't want to get back into that pressure thing, there's going to be pressure at Arkansas, but it's not the level it's going to be at Florida. He wants to stay in the Big Ten. Maryland, Loxley might be on the hot seat. After getting off to a hot start, he's sort of waned now down the stretch. A couple losses under his belt, and to me, Maryland's very similar to what a Vanderbilt job would be like. He can go there, win, make Maryland a very competitive squad, but the expectations aren't going to be there as they would as a Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. The expectations aren't going to be there at a Maryland school. Just make them respectable. They'd be happy with a 9-win, 10-win season each and every year. And then of course got UCLA. Already mentioned that potential landing spot. Who knows? At Orgeron again. Might want to go back west. I don't see how UCLA pops up on James Franklin's radar. Has he ever coached out west? I don't know, but I think he would prefer to stay somewhere on the East Coast, Midwest area South, stuff he's familiar with. And when you get a $49-50 million buyout, he can sit back and take his time. He ain't in no rush. He's not in no rush. He can sit back, take his time, be selective, and pick a spot that'll work for him. That'll work for him. So again, hit me up in the comments on my first go around here. What you talking about? This is what I've talked about. Something new, something fresh, something I hope to do on a more often basis. As opposed to just doing game reactions, trying to grow. I'm taking baby steps now. I'm gonna start taking some leaps. So help me continue to grow that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, OHIO, I'm out. Thank you.